Love you.
We first left LA, the plan was to go to a house like kind of like on the San Diego Tijuana border. And so we, not on the border, but like close in San Diego. And so we drove to San Diego. We got to San Diego and Spencer got a message from the Airbnb host saying that the power was out. So we were like, fuck. And then Spencer found, long story as to why we ended up in the fucking desert, but we went to an Airbnb in the desert at that point. When we got there, we stayed one night, and then the next day the power went out.
Well,
So,
wait, because of what? Because of winds?
yeah, the winds are fucking crazy out here. Like, the winds in San Diego are like the same as LA or were. And then in Joshua Tree, there's like a separate wind event that just ended yesterday. And it was like, it's windier than I've ever seen in Joshua Tree. And it has nothing to do with the LA fires, which is fucked. And so, yeah, the power went out at the other place. We were, like, sitting in there in, like, the cold, dark, like, waiting for Spencer. He had gone over to, like, a cafe in town to look for another Airbnb. So we waited there for, like, fucking 3 hours in the dark, in the cold. And then that night we drove to another Airbnb in somewhere called Bermuda Dunes outside of Palm Springs. I don't know. And it was, like, a really, really ugly but huge house. It looked like something that like they live in on like Big Brother and reality TV or something like that. It was like hideous, but it was very like fancy or whatever. And so then we left that place on Sunday. We were there with like other people, friends of ours who were also fleeing the fires. And then on Sunday we drove over to where I am now, which is a little tiny Airbnb in the middle of Joshua Tree. It's got like 2 rooms and just like a small living room. And honestly, like, you know, Spencer and Tyler both have work, and so they've been in a lot of meetings and shit like that. And like people are going on walks and stuff, so we're like not stepping on each other's toes too much, even though it's like a very tiny house. We've kind of just been like hanging out in our rooms a lot and then like getting together for dinner and stuff like that. But yeah, I really want to go fucking home really fucking bad.
But it's like now I'm thinking like, why didn't I flee? Everybody I know like fled. Everyone's like, yeah, we're going to Ojai. Yeah, we're going to Palm Springs. And I'm sitting here just hunkered down. What's my problem? I thought like because all these people were displaced, like in the immediate fire zones, like people who lost their houses and stuff, like shouldn't it have been like a situation where we don't eat up the rental inventory so these people can find places to go? Or no, it's just every man for himself.
I mean, there's like a shitload of rentals, you know, like there's like still like a ton of Airbnbs like all over the place. When we were looking for them, there's like a bunch left. But places are like price gouging and shit now, which is really fucked. Like I don't even know, but I mean, there's housing, you know, like the existence of housing isn't really the problem as much as it's like the cost of it, you know. We're lucky that we're able to have this place, but I think a lot of people couldn't like afford to be in like, you know, Airbnb in the middle of Joshua Tree. And so I don't know if I'm like, if somebody could pay as much for this Airbnb as we're paying, then they can get an Airbnb elsewhere too.
Right. Yeah. So it's like the rich flee.
Yeah.
The
I mean,
poor
Jesus,
people
I'm not even rich, but comparatively, I guess I can afford an Airbnb, so that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I got to say, since you're somebody who has asthma, the air quality situation is super frustrating because if you track it, and that's what I've been doing because I have kids and I'm just trying to make sure I make, you know, sound decisions for myself and for them. Like if you track what's called the AQI, the air quality index on like you know, you can do it on the weather
Yeah.
app on your phone or you can do it on other apps or whatever.
I have it on my home screen, do it every day.
Well, the AQI has been good, like
Yeah.
mostly. And yet when I've been on 2 walks, including last night, I went outside, the AQI was like 34. It seemed like a clear night. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to walk the dog. I'm not going to put a mask on. And I felt it.
Yeah.
Like there's shit in the air that the AQI does not measure.
Well, there's particulate matter, and that's like a separate measurement system that isn't on the weather app. You have to like download a separate app for it, but it's the particulate matter in the air is what's going to be like long lasting and really fuck people up badly. And everybody should absolutely mask because it's like, you know, the same thing happened with like 9/11 where it was like they said it was fine. They said there was not, you know, the dust was okay or whatever. And then it turned out that like a huge part of like the issues of 9/11 is that like people were inhaling the particulate matter and then got sick.
Okay, so here's a question. If I've been on 2 like half an hour walks, like not like strenuous, like I'm not
Oh,
like
you're gonna
running,
die.
am I gonna die?
You're gonna die for sure, Brett. You're gonna die like in 7 days.
It's just so, and it's like so hard. So what's the app that measures particulate matter?
I had it a second ago and now I cannot remember what it is.
Well, you got to send this to me because I'm like, I don't
Yeah,
know how to measure the particulate
I'll
matter.
text it to you. I downloaded it. It's somewhere on my phone, but I'm currently using that to record a podcast. So it's a pain in the ass.
How's your asthma? Are you like using your
I
inhaler?
am using my inhaler. I'm back on using my steroidal inhaler, which I had stopped for like a month because my my asthma was doing better, and now I'm on it again. You can hear I'm like a little stuffed up just because the desert always makes me kind of stuffed up with all the dust out here and whatnot. But yeah, I like escaped the asthma. I didn't have a serious asthma attack, but like that night I for sure was like wheezing and using my inhaler a lot. The next day I was pretty much okay. And yeah, so far my asthma has not been too bad, but I've been like using, my steroidal inhaler and stuff like preventatively for when I get back to LA.
Well, just, yeah, you got a mask. That's what I would
Yeah.
say. And the question is like, how long is this going to go on?
I don't know. That's like something to research. Like I don't know how long the particulate matter just hangs in the air like that.
Neither do I. It's like, when can I start hiking again? This is bullshit.
Just use a damn treadmill or something like that.
I don't have a treadmill. I think I might like if I wear like an N95 while I'm hiking, is that sufficient?
I don't really think you should be like doing exercise outside right now at
Well,
all.
not right now, but like they're going to open the parks I think this weekend. The parks have been closed. Like you can't even get to the park.
Maybe by this weekend it'll be okay. I don't even know, honestly. This is like new for me. Like I've never like it's not something I've ever had to worry about. There's not been ever been like enough structures burning down like for that to be an issue. I mean, I'm definitely going to wear an N95. I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea how long. I have to imagine like it can't be that long, right? Like the wind's going to sweep up the particulate eventually.
You got to get me that particulate app. I got to be able to I want to see a measurement. Like I want to know, like the thing that's been so frustrating is that I don't think that there's really been like one good central source of information
Mhm.
about what's safe and what's not. Like I read a fucking article on the internet. I think it was on Forbes, and it was like food contamination is an issue. Like if ash lands on the food, like you should get rid of all the plastic bottles even that you have because the toxins can get in through the plastic and canned food too. It's like, well, Jesus Christ, like I just went to the market to get food. Like, how am I supposed to know what's on this? Like, if I just wash it off, am I okay?
Right.
Like, it's craziness. You're like, I don't even know what to eat.
Yeah, that's wild. Like how can you even know what like you have to wash everything? Is it like COVID style? Like what
Yeah,
like
like
what
to
the
get some
fuck?
Clorox
Like
wipes.
I mean, it's like if it's in a plastic container then or in any kind of container then like the ash isn't on the food, right? Like seems fine.
But the ash can eat through the plastic,
What
I
the
think was the
fuck?
deal.
I had no idea. I did not
Yeah.
know that. That is fucked. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So it sucks to be like this is one of the I mean, there's obviously gradations, right? We're on a spectrum here of like massive tragedy, people losing their lives, people losing their homes and all their memories and all that kind of stuff. All the way down to like people being like, do I wear a mask? Can I eat this like carrot? Is this carrot covered in ash? Like it's kind of just a stressful, awful thing to live through.
Yeah, just endless, just nonstop. Like, yeah, different issues for different fucking grades of people who have like suffered here. It's like, even the people who like lost their homes are potentially suffering like less than the people who like worked for people in those homes. Like it's a gradation of suffering for sure. Like, and I mean that's not the case all around, but it's it's really insane. I know no less than 10 people who have lost their homes, like their childhood homes. Like that's so many
Yeah.
fucking people.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many like kids at school, like my daughter's school, and like her, just suddenly homeless. And it's really traumatizing for kids. Like my daughter was really scared when it was all starting and then school was canceled. And, it was like, what do we do? And what is this? And I think there's maybe some COVID flashbacks.
Yeah,
Like these kids
totally.
have lived, these kids have lived through so much. You know what I'm saying? Like
God.
the global pandemic and now the city's burning. And it's just like, I
Yeah.
feel like I'm really acing it as a parent. Just doing a great job here.
I mean, like they're seeing like shit that like is crazy for me to see now. You know, like I'm like seeing that as a
Yeah,
kid
right.
is wild. Like truly unprecedented. Like entirely unprecedented. Like things that are like worse than I thought I would ever see. Like I've been through wildfires my whole life, like nonstop. It's like once a year it's fire season. And like I mean like my mom has lived here since 1969 and she was like this is like nothing I've ever seen before ever.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
no one expected that.
it's like the way I sort of explain it to myself and to other people is that it's just this confluence of environmental factors. It was just kind of like the perfect storm, right? It's like heavy rains last year, like incredible vegetation growth, and then 8 months of drought. So all that vegetation that grew last year basically dried out and turned into like kindling. And then you had a spark, and I don't even think we know how these fires started yet, whether it was like a
I think in
electrical
Eden it
wire,
was an electrical wire.
but I think Palisades might have been fireworks, might have been
Right, I'm
man
not sure what
started. I
Palisades
don't
was.
know.
I know they said that the Eden was a downed power line, but the Palisades, yeah, I'm not totally sure.
Not totally sure. Can't say, but whatever the case, there was some kind of spark, and then you have like 100-mile-an-hour winds,
Yeah.
and that's really it. Then you're done. And it's kind of crazy too to think about the different places that the fire was burning. Like it was burning a little bit on the backside over by the San Fernando Valley, like the backside of the Santa Monica Mountains, and then for a short spell there was a fire like not too far from me called the Sunset Fire,
Right.
but it started right when the winds kind of died down last Thursday, I believe. And what's crazy about it is that if those winds had been blowing southward, that could have gotten really dicey.
Like
Like
Hollywood might have
just
been
be
gone.
that's what I mean because but the thing about it is that if Hollywood burns, like the population is so big and so dense and there's so many like older people and homeless people, and it's like the pandemonium of trying to escape all that would have been enormous. It would have been crazy.
Yeah, really crazy. And I mean, like the pandemonium of the Palisades fire was crazy enough with people like leaving their cars in Sunset Boulevard and stuff like that, like Sunset and PCH, like just like crazy shit. But like the fucking Hollywood fire, like I have my one of my best friends lives like on like Santa Monica Boulevard, like right by the Abbey. So it's like Santa Monica and Robertson. And like for those who don't know, the heart of Boys Town, like just like the center of West Hollywood. He had to fucking evacuate. Like that is crazy to me. Like the Abbey, next to the fucking Abbey, and he had to evacuate a fire. Like I was like, oh my god. Like if West Hollywood burns down, I mean,
Well, it's because like Runyon Canyon was burning,
yeah, it was
like
burning.
that was
Like big time burning too. Like you could see a massive fire in the distance everywhere in Hollywood. There was a chance the Hollywood sign was gonna burn.
if Boys Town burns, we riot.
I
That's
mean,
it.
we riot already. We're rioting in Boys Town anyways. Like fucking
That's right.
Jesus. We're all fucking rioting. I mean, like, allow me to use this non-political pop culture podcast to say fuck Rick Caruso and fuck Karen Bass. Okay, defunding the fucking fire department like a month before this shit happened. Like, fucking quit your job. Fucking leave. Like, no. You are a bad fucking mayor. You're in Ghana while these fucking historic fucking winds are happening and you just defunded the fire department so they can't fucking repair their equipment. Like, fuck you. No. And like, fuck Rick Caruso for hiring private firefighters to defend his shitty mall in the Palisades while literally everything else burned. Congratulations. Now you have a mall in a fucking burned down city.
Yeah. Do you think it's going to be rebuilt?
The Palisades?
Yeah, or all of it, like Altadena, Palisades, everything that's gone. Like it's like, what do you do?
I
Like
mean, yeah, I think
if
real estate
I'm,
developers are gonna like lowball people for their land and then they're gonna develop there. It's gonna be like it's already happening in the Palisades.
I just want it to be like it's either rebuild the neighborhood and make it better and safer somehow, or just make it into a city park.
It should be low income housing or a public park.
But it won't be.
No, it won't be. I mean, and truly, truly, I've been saying this for fucking ever. They should not rebuild Malibu. Don't rebuild it. Don't fucking rebuild it. It burns every year. The mountain burns every year. People aren't supposed to live on it. They're just not. Don't rebuild it. Rehouse those people. Move them somewhere else. They need to fucking not build houses there. They're gonna burn every fucking year.
Jesus. Yeah, so many like structures, like iconic structures burned. I was reading about some guy who like some rich guy had like a lot of like Andy Warhol paintings and
Oh my God.
Keith Haring paintings, like all just turned to dust.
Oh my God, they burned?
Yeah, he got out with a few of them, but
Fuck.
he couldn't carry them all. He's like an art collector.
Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, the fucking Getty Villa almost burned. It's full of ancient artifacts, full of priceless works. Like, I was fucking terrified about the Getty Villa burning.
Yeah, I mean, it came close. A lot of stuff. I mean, I don't even think we fully like.
Everything.
I don't think anybody's like fully tallied it up. I think we're going to learn more
No.
and more as it goes on.
They're saying at least 90% of the Palisades is gone. And okay, like the place that I went to prom. Well, I went to prom because my best friend was at prom with this guy, and he called me and he was like, Natasha's throwing up everywhere. She had like a handle of vodka before we left and she's fucking puking. You need to fucking come get her. And I was like, all right. I like rolled up to Duke's Malibu on PCH, and Natasha was there throwing up, and I was like, all right, girl, here's a hair tie. Let's fix your shit. And then from there we went to Larry David's house for a after prom party because his daughter was like in our school class, whatever.
This looks like a good place to puke.
Yeah, well, apparently it was because boy did she puke. She puked a whole bunch, and then we
At Larry
both
David's
slept
house.
there at Larry David's house, and then we both slept there. I remember like drunkenly the next morning, like turning over, being like, "Where the fuck am I?" and like turning over and then seeing a picture of like Larry David and his family, like a family photo, and being like, "What the fuck is going on?" Like,
But he wasn't
holy
there.
shit.
He wasn't
He
there.
was not there. He was out of town. That's why his daughter threw like a raging party at his house. That house also burned down. Gone.
He lost his
So
house?
he lost his house. All my prom memories are kaput.
Wow. So, I
Yeah.
mean, it's like, I think, what are these people going to do? I think they're just going to like go to New York or go to Costa Rica or wherever they have other homes.
Yeah, I mean,
Probably.
or somewhere else in Los Angeles. I mean, a lot of people in the Palisades are like not actually as rich as people think too, because a lot of people bought their houses a long time ago in the 70s or 80s or whatever when it was not so expensive and then just stayed there. And
Right.
like those, I don't know what the fuck those people are gonna do. I mean, probably what's gonna happen is they're gonna take a lowball, sale of their land, and then I don't know, like
They
buy a
should
new
make
house
it,
in LA or
they
something.
should make it illegal for any kind of conglomerate like BlackRock or whatever the fuck. These companies can't, like these investment banking outfits or whatever that buy up real estate. They should be not allowed to do that. If you're going to sell,
True.
you either sell it back to the city or you sell it to an individual buyer, right?
Yeah, they should be not allowed to do that at all, even when there isn't a disaster, but especially now. Like
Yeah.
it's fucking ridiculous. I mean, like as far as I'm concerned, housing should be like the line for food at summer camp where everybody gets first and nobody gets seconds until they get firsts. Like that's what we should do. Everyone gets a house and then people can get second houses from there.
Or third houses. You get a house. I mean, like, yeah, all these people
I
with
mean,
all
as
these
long as
houses.
everybody has one, then go nuts.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're okay, Mira, or like relatively okay, and that like you're not having some sort of crazy asthma attack. I think
Yeah, I'm
like,
not hospitalized. I am actively not hospitalized, so that's good.
and like mentally, you seem pretty good. Like you're decent. Like you're feeling at peace in the desert. Has this been kind of like a vision quest or any kind of spiritual experience for you?
No, it sucked. It just the whole thing sucked. It's not spiritual. It's just exhausting, and it just sucks. There's no
You're not like
I
walking. You're not like walking in the desert and like touching ancient rock or anything. And
no, I am like hiding in my bedroom and watching Real Housewives. Like I'm not going out into the fucking desert. Like over the last year or so, I've spent a good amount of time out here, and I've come to the conclusion that fuck the desert. I fucking hate the desert. This place fucking sucks. People were not meant to live here. This is like not human life is not supposed to be sustained out here. Every single thing in this environment wants you to die. Fuck the desert. Fuck nature. Fuck trees. Fuck outside. I like my house. I want to be inside my house.
what's your weed intake like out in the desert? Is it ramping up?
Oh yeah, big time. It's I mean, yeah, certainly ramping up a whole lot. I mean, after this call, I'm about to like pop a really strong edible and just fucking vibe because there's nothing else to do out here besides get stoned and hide.
So how many milligrams a day are we at in the desert? What's like your desert milligram count?
I mean, I honestly have not been keeping track. I've just been fucking popping edibles left and right and drinking weed drinks and just like, I mean, definitely over 100, like well over 100.
I love how Mira's talking to me on her phone, and there was some there was some question about whether or not this episode was even going to happen because Mira ran out of her house in Los Angeles to flee the fires and didn't grab her laptop. She just left
Nope.
her computer behind. But you clearly did not forget your weed. Like you bring your weed immediately. Like that's the first thing you reach for.
Well, yes, because my weed is just in my purse. So if there's ever a situation, I just grab my purse and it has all my weed in it, and I don't have to worry. But I did make us make a pit stop on the way here to a weed store because I only had like one edible, and I was like, it's not gonna do.
Oh, right. But yeah, there's like little dispensaries everywhere, so you can just get weed.
Yeah. And in like fucking that other place we were at in Bermuda Dunes, it was like not in the middle of nowhere. So like you can get like
I've never even heard of Bermuda Dunes. Is
me
it a
neither. It
is it
still
a
sounds
neighborhood or
fucking
is it a
fake.
town? Is it a town?
It's it's an unincorporated part of Palm Springs, I guess.
All
It's
right.
like I the fact that it's named like Bermuda like sounds about right. It's like the fucking Bermuda Triangle. Like I don't know what the fuck is going on over there. I it's not like a gated community or anything, but it is like I don't know. It was fucked. I never wanted to know that that place existed. I regret ever finding out that it existed.
There's
But the
some
house had power and a TV and air conditioning, and it had a pool, but it was too cold for that. So it was a home. And after being in that house that had no power, I was really grateful to have a place with electricity.
yeah, that'll do. Just something. But it is like and there's just like a weird vibe in the desert I find, like where you just like who's living here? Who are these people?
I mean, when I look outside of my window, there are no houses. Like, if I look into the like far out mountains, I can see like houses in the very distance, but like there's like I can't see shit. I see fucking cactuses and Joshua trees and nothing for a fucking long ass time. Just desolate fucking desert that wants me dead.
It's a good place to just contemplate oblivion, like whatever the fuck is going on. I mean, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that the last week in Los Angeles has been at least like somewhat apocalyptic. I don't know what else
It's
would
so
qualify.
apocalyptic. Like I had like an animal flight or fight reflex to seeing this smoke blocking out the sun. Like I've like never had it before where I was like, "Oh my God, like I need to like run. I need to run away." This is like I've like never seen like a natural event that was so frightening to the eye that I was just like, I gotta get the fuck out of here right the fuck now. Like it was crazy. I felt like I was in fucking white noise.
Dude, you want to know something funny? I was talking to about this with Melissa Broder because we both
Mm.
stayed. And it's like, when there's a hurricane on the Gulf Coast or like in Florida or whatever, and there's always like the reporter in the rain jacket who's like down there
Yeah.
on the scene, who's like trying to talk to the locals, and they're always talking to some local in the bayou or whatever who's like, I'm not going anywhere. Fuck it.
That's
Like
you and
I've seen
Melissa.
that's me. I'm like, I just stayed. For some reason, like everybody else fled, and I'm just like sitting here like, okay, here we go. I guess it's happening.
I mean, I feel like that's what I was like preparing to do. I was like, oh my God, okay, we're gonna have to really fucking hunker down here, and I'm fucking terrified. And then we got a call that Spencer was leaving, and we were like, fucking see ya, we're fucking out of here, like no fucking way. But I mean, my parents stayed in Venice. They were okay because the offshore winds kind of swept the smoke away like pretty quickly. But there was a day in there where my mom was like, it is raining ash outside, like snowing. Like it looked like it was snowing, which is like fucking wild.
Well,
Was
and
it
that
that bad at
ash
your
is that
house?
ash that ash is toxic.
Yeah. Like you don't know what the fuck asbestos. You don't know what the fuck is in that shit.
Copper, like there's all sorts of different things I was reading, but it's like if you get ash on you, you're supposed to like immediately wash it off. Like it's really not good to be in contact with
Fuck,
that
dude.
ash.
That's like, and is that just like because so many structures burn, like not just plants? Is that like why
Exactly,
it's so much
precisely.
worse?
Yeah, but that's why the AQI doesn't measure it. That's why it's like this particulate matter because the particulate
Right.
matter that's in the air is from like burned insulation and asbestos
Right.
and copper piping and all the shit that it gets incinerated when buildings burn and when cars burn and all this stuff. So, there's just a lot of like X factors out there. And then like the thing that's kind of like crazy making about it is that this ash, like when we're talking about ash, like yeah, there's some big flakes of ash, like you'll see some of that especially as you're closer to the fires themselves. But in terms of what travels, like the ash that I'm seeing on our cars is like this really really fine dust.
Ugh.
So it's not like, the kind of ash that you're thinking about in your fireplace. It's like really really
Right.
fine dust. So like I'm going to hose off our cars because I guess that
Jesus.
helps to dissolve it or get rid of it or whatever. But you got to be like doing that sort of stuff, like just rinsing everything off.
That's fucking insane. I wonder how long that's going to be fucking happening for. Like, that's
Yeah,
like what I'm confused about. Is it like, okay, is LA just going to be toxic for like a year now? Like, what the fuck? Like, what
yeah,
is the deal?
exactly. Like that's kind of the nightmare. Is like you don't know what, like when are things going to revert to like quasi normal where you can feel like you can go outside and not be poisoning yourself.
I mean, it's crazy to like see in real time all of Los Angeles changing permanently. Like just seeing those structures burn and burn, like at like seeing it online. Like I've never like witnessed, and I don't know if anyone's ever witnessed, like LA, the entire city, the entire dynamic of the whole city changing so rapidly in front of our eyes like that.
Yeah,
Like
no doubt.
this is like this moment. LA will never be the same ever again. It's going to be an entirely different city after this.
It's kind of like Hurricane Katrina. I think there could be an
Yeah.
exit. I think there could be a mass exodus of people who just either cash out or just peace out and are like, I'm moving to Montana or whatever, people do.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's one thing if your insurance company comes through and is like, okay, we'll help you rebuild. Like, do you really want to rebuild on some like tract of land that just got incinerated?
Right, and
Like
also like the like water is not working properly in the Palisades. Like there's no like fucking things.
infrastructure.
There's no store, there's no infrastructure, there's like the streets are fucked. Like there's just like even if your house is okay in the Palisades, you kind of can't live in it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like I was reading that like Steven Spielberg's house was spared, and like some of these houses in the Palisades did not burn, and like great, I'm happy. I don't care who
Yeah.
it is, I'm happy your house didn't burn. But uh, trying to imagine being one of those lucky people, and then they do restore. Let's say they restore the water and power in a way that's sufficient. Who wants to go back and live there? Like your house is the only house standing, and all around you are like the charred remains of like this neighborhood. Like, no thanks.
It's yeah, it's and toxic. I mean, like talk about like particulate in the air. It can't be safe to live there right now. Like that's like the epicenter of the fucking toxic particulate matter. Like that's like really fucking bad.
Yeah, like they should be doing a better job of warning people and communicating to people exactly what I mean, maybe they are and I'm not seeing it, but like there are a lot of people I think who naturally are going back to the site of their burned house and trying to like sift through the rubble.
Yeah,
And if you're doing that, you should be wearing like gloves and goggles and a mask and shit. Like you got to really be protecting yourself. And I don't like the
totally.
the people I've been seeing on the news are just like barefaced, just like looking
Yeah.
normal, and I don't think that they're recognizing the health danger that they're putting themselves in. It's crazy.
It is really crazy. I mean, there really isn't any like messaging from like the fucking government telling us what the fuck to do, what the deal is. They're like, oh, wear masks outside, but they don't say how long. They don't say where you're supposed to wear a mask. Where it's like how to look at the particulate matter. I mean, like there's a million things, so we have no idea what the fuck's going on. Like,
Yeah.
where is the fucking government? Where is everybody? Like, why haven't we gotten any clear instructions? Like, is there even a way to know if your house burned down? Like, if you're in these areas besides like going into the areas? I don't know.
Yeah. It's so fucked up. There should be better systems in place. Let's put it that way. Hopefully they'll be
Yeah.
improved after this. But like it's just like, I guess like big, huge, crazy disasters like this, you can never fully prepare for. It's like kind of impossible, and yet these circumstances, it's not like totally crazy that this happened. I mean, if you think about the lack of precipitation and how dry everything is and the long history of wildfires, like you have to know that at some point, if the right circumstances all kind of coalesce, that you're going to be in deep shit.
Yeah. And, especially if you're the mayor, you should fucking know that and you should not fucking go to Ghana when these fucking winds are gonna happen and fucking burn your whole fucking city down, bitch. I mean, sorry. Sorry. Sorry, everybody.
Well, I mean, it's a pop culture podcast, and I guess there are many pop culture like tangentially related pop culture impacts to be discussed when it comes to these fires, because Pacific Palisades is a very exclusive neighborhood in a contemporary sense. Like you said, a lot of people have lived there a long time, so there are middle class people living in the Palisades, but in general, like the people who live there are flush, and there's a ton of celebrities who live in
Hmm.
that neighborhood.
And Malibu, Calabasas, like all that.
All that, yeah, that's like celebrity. Like that's kind of where they are on the west side, Brentwood, but Brentwood didn't get hit. I don't think. I mean, maybe there were some some houses that got lost here and there, but it wasn't like the whole neighborhood
Yeah, it
got
wasn't
hit.
hit really hard though.
So there are some stories that I've been seeing. The FBI showed up at Ben Affleck's house to talk with him about unauthorized drone activity.
What?
And I don't know. I don't think he was doing drones. By the way, who are these people who are like, yeah, I fly drone? Like,
Over an active wildfire? Like I don't like it's fucking weird.
well, people want to see. They want to film the damage and probably sell the footage or something. You know, it's that sort of like
Right.
Gawker
But it's like
mentality.
fully illegal. People should probably know that.
But why? Like, I guess the drones could potentially pose a danger to like the water tankers that are flying
Yeah, a
overhead.
lot of them had to like ground because there was like drones in their airspace and it was like a potential hazard.
But wouldn't like a plane? I mean, honestly, these drones are tiny. Like, wouldn't a plane just obliterate a drone if it hit it? Like, what's a
They're
drone
getting
gonna do?
bigger and like if you're going that fast and you hit something, like it could like you never know. Like
Yeah, I guess so.
and it would be really bad to have a plane crash directly into a wildfire.
So what? The FBI shows up at Ben Affleck's house and is asking him about if he. Oh, they were asking him if he had CCTV footage of a private drone which damaged a super scooper, which is one of those
I see.
firefighting aircrafts. But I don't think Ben Affleck. Do you think Ben Affleck is flying a drone?
No, I don't think so.
Just in his backyard, just like smoking a cig and flying a drone, just looking
Smoking a cig
sad.
in the wildfires, just
Yeah.
flying a drone.
I mean, what a fucking bummer. But yeah, so that happened. I guess they can track that down. Maybe figure out who's flying the drones. I don't know how you do that, but
Yeah, I have no idea.
and then there's a like a full. I mean, maybe not a full, but there's a list of many of the celebrities who lost homes in the fire. Let's see, like Heidi and Spencer Pratt
Mm,
of The Hills fame, Spidey. They lost their house.
damn, that's sad.
Yeah. Let's see.
I
Like
actually
you
like
said,
them.
yeah. You know who I was really sad for is
Hmm.
Billy Crystal.
Oh, that's sad. He lost his house.
He's so sweet. I love Billy Crystal. Like I heard an interview with him on a podcast not too long ago, and he's just a delightful human. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like funny,
Yeah.
kind, like never, it doesn't seem to have any kind of like attitude. You know, he's kind of like got a humility about him. And I just was like, ah, and he's lived there for like 35 years, like raised
Oh
his kids
man.
there, that whole thing. It's just so
Oh,
sad.
poor guy. That's rough.
Yeah. And then Paris Hilton lost her house in,
Wow, that's a iconic house that she lost.
I
That
don't,
means
I
that
don't,
she also lost the small mansion that she had built for her dogs in her backyard.
well, no, I think that's in the Hollywood Hills. This is a house that I think she bought
Oh,
after she got married and was like, I mean, I think this house is like right on the beach. It was one of
I
those.
see. It was like one like on PCH.
Yeah, I want to
Oh
say
wow.
if I'm looking at the picture right now, uh, she
Did
and her
Cher lose
husband.
her house?
No, I think Cher's house is far enough north. Like, and for
Okay.
people who are listening, like, guess if you live here long enough, like you drive up the PCH, eventually someone tells you where Cher lives.
Yeah. There you go. That's Cher's house.
Well, but it's kind of singular. I mean, it's the most beautiful property. It's like all by itself, like perched above the ocean, you know.
Yeah, it is really, really gorgeous.
It's a great, beautiful house, but I guess it's like in a fire zone. And then Leighton Meester and Adam Brody,
Oh,
their house burned
damn.
down. Anna Faris,
Oh, damn.
Miles Teller.
Oh.
There's a lot of, I mean, just awful photos. Eugene Levy. Oh,
Oh.
he's a funny guy. And let's
Think Kim
see.
Kardashian, right?
I don't know if she lost her house. Who's Milo Ventimiglia?
He played he's on that show This Is Us now, but he also played one of Rory Gilmore's boyfriends in Gilmore Girls.
Oh, okay, so that's why I don't know. But yeah, he lost his house.
Damn.
Julia Louis Dreyfus, Larry David. Did I
Oh.
already say Larry David? Anthony Hopkins. He's a
I
sweet
said Larry
man.
David because I went to his house for prom.
Oh yeah, I puked in his house. I had I had diarrhea at Larry David's house when I was in high
To be
school.
clear, Natasha was the one who puked, not me. I'm very good with my alcohol, thank you.
Oh, you are okay. Let's see, John Goodman.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, who's Cameron Matheson? Let's see.
No fucking idea.
Oh, he stars on General Hospital.
Oh. That show still exists. I didn't even know that.
I guess. Kobe Smulders.
That seems like a fake person.
Let's just assume that's a fake person.
Yeah, you're making
Di-
that up.
Diane Warren, the iconic songwriter.
Oh
I mean, the
yeah.
list goes on. It's like I don't even know. You don't even know what to do after a while. Fergie. Wait,
Fergie.
hang on. Fergie's. Oh, but apparently still had a fighting chance. So I don't know if her house went.
Yolanda Hadid's famous house with the Real Houses of Beverly Hills viewers will know the glass front refrigerator and her lemon trees gone. Very sad.
God. Yeah. So just a fucking shit show. Ricky
So much
Lake.
shit just fucking gone. I mean, like every, like just like even just like the Gelsons in the Palisades. Like I've spent, I mean, probably the equivalent of days there. Like probably the equivalent of like fucking 400 hours in the fucking Gelsons, like in the Palisades. And I never thought I would see the day that it fucking burned. It's gone.
Why? Why were you at Gelson's for so long?
It's like what you do, and like if you go to like in high school, I would take the sorry about my dog. I would take the number 2 bus to the number 9 bus to go meet my boyfriend, my then boyfriend at Palisades High School. And then from Palisades High School you would walk down to the village that had a bunch of stuff, but the kids for some reason would just like loiter in the Gelsons from the Gelsons parking lot. It was like for many years it's been like the main place that Palisades High kids go to just loiter.
See that this makes me feel better because I was raised in. I have sort of a inferiority complex around where I was raised because I came of age in like Milwaukee and Indianapolis, these sort of like Rust Belty kind of Midwestern cities where there's not a ton going on, And I think about kids who are like you're raised in Venice, like that seems so cool to me, and yet in high school you were doing the same shit that I was doing, which is like
Oh
hanging out
yeah.
outside of a grocery store.
Yeah, absolutely. We spent a ton of time in Gelson's, outside of Gelson's, behind Gelson's, in the loading dock of Gelson's. That was like, I mean, there's
Did
like
you
a lot
hook
of
up?
places that I
Did
can
you
think
hook up
of.
at Gelson's? Were you like hooking up in the loading dock with people? And is that what was going on?
Yeah,
Or
probably. I mean, like it was like, just like my boyfriend from high school. I had a boyfriend for like 3 years in high school. But yeah, probably. Like I wouldn't be surprised like, smoking weed back there, like, fucking I don't even know, spray painting probably, like all kinds of kid shit. And then they'd have to send somebody out there like, all right, you guys gotta go, like come on, like time to leave or whatever. Or like outside of like the movie theater on the Third Street Promenade, we always hung out like on the steps of that movie theater, like or like in the fucking in like the Nordstrom in the Santa Monica Mall, like all kinds of fucking places like that, like for sure. Because when you're like a young teenager, it's like if you're not able to like hang out at somebody's house, like where do you go?
yeah, 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 exactly. You got to like just go find your own space, but
Yeah,
it's gone now. I guess they'll rebuild the Gelson's, Mira. You can one day go back there and like, you
won't be
know,
the same.
just like cry a little bit. And
Yeah,
what's that?
shed a single tear.
What's that Madonna song? This used to be my playground. You can listen to that song. Just
I don't know it, but I will listen to it.
just feel the vibes. But I guess the other story that is coming to my attention has to do with like a lone hiker that somebody in Topanga Canyon filmed, like walking around. Like there's a quote tense interaction between a Topanga local and a lone hiker who gave vague answers to basic questions about where he was going and what he was doing walking around with a backpack in a fire zone. So I guess this is after the Palisades fires had started.
So this is a story about a guy walking around, and people
Yeah,
were like, "Why are you doing that?"
there are concern like I'm quoting TMZ. There are concerns that arson is the cause of the Palisades fire. And at one point during the exchange, the hiker responds to a question about the contents of his backpack by saying, unprompted, definitely not any lighter fluid.
Uh,
I mean,
this
there's so
story
many.
strikes me as like people freaking out and just like seeing anybody and being like, "That person is the fucking arsonist." Like,
And there's
why
so
does the
many
arsonist
crazy.
be like
There's so many.
walking around a burned neighborhood?
Yeah, who's going hiking on the west side after the Palisades go up? Like, come on, that seems
He's
crazy
probably
on
like
its
going and
face.
like looking for his stuff in the fire, like,
Or he could just be crazy.
or he could just be crazy. It could be the homeless person who was nearby. It could be like, I mean, I genuinely feel pretty strongly that if somebody was an arsonist who burned down the entire Palisades, they wouldn't just like go back to the Palisades and walk around suspiciously with a backpack.
Yeah. That's weird. I don't know what to make of it. And I don't know if I don't think we have clear understanding of what caused the Palisades fire.
And we don't, and we certainly don't have anything close to proof that it was arson. What we do have proof of is historically fast and dry winds and like historically crazy conditions for fire, which is like, Occam's razor, most likely the case.
Yeah, well, and I had a friend tell me that the Sunset Fire, which is the one near me, which burned like Runyon Canyon and stuff. I had a friend tell me that one was arson, and it was started by like a gang that set the fire so that like Laurel Canyon would evacuate, and then they went in and
Look,
robbed a bunch of houses.
that seems fake to me.
But it's like, imagine if somebody did that. Like, imagine just being like, yeah, we'll just light the hill on fire. They'll
Like,
have
just be
to
like,
have.
oh, we're gonna burn down this whole neighborhood and then run into the burning flames and try to steal things. I mean, like, if an area is being evacuated, it's full of police and firemen. It's not like it's just like an empty neighborhood where you can just go and fucking loot the houses before they get burned down. Like, they're either looting ash or they're like not looting. Like, it's
Yeah, and I don't have any confirmation of that either. I haven't like read that in the news. So like maybe it's
yeah,
horse.
that
Maybe it was
seems
just
made up.
that would be
I mean, unless there's like proof in the news that it happened, I just don't believe it. Like, how would they know it's a gang? How would they know? How would they know any of that? How would anyone know any of that?
it's a bunch of it's a bunch of gangbangers who just
Bunch of
wanted to go in
thugs
there. A bunch of
wanted to
thug
steal my flat
gangbangers.
screen TV.
You know, you'd have to be like just a monumentally shitty person to, in the middle of all of this wildfire chaos, be like, now's our chance.
Yeah, and like,
Go start a fire. Let's go rob these people blind. Start a fire. Like that's just such a crazy, like shitty thing to do. I can't even imagine people doing that. And yet there are definitely people in the world who would
but it
do
also
that.
just doesn't seem
Like I have
effective
no
because it's like, okay, we're gonna burn down the whole neighborhood. By the time anybody's evacuating, like I said, it's like the neighborhood's about to burn down and there's police everywhere. And then when the neighborhood burns down, there's something to steal. So like, what's the tactic there?
I don't know, but it's chaos though. Like if you have a getaway car, you go in and loot the place and take a bunch of jewelry and stuff. You just get in the car and act like you're evacuating. People like the cops aren't thinking like robbery. They're thinking like public safety.
But like, if a bunch of dudes go into a house with like a fucking backpack and come out with a bunch of shit in their, like, it's like,
If somebody's watching it. But I mean, like in that kind of chaos, there's so much distraction. Everybody's kind of looking at the flames, right? It's like, oh, the flames, the flames, the flames. And then I can see how it could work. Let's just put it that way. I have nothing to do with it,
yeah.
just for the record, but I'm
I
just
guess
saying
I could see how it
I could
could
see how it
work,
could
but
work.
also it's like they would have to have like planned to do it during this historic wind event. They would have been like, "Oh, this wind is really crazy. Oh, there's already wildfires. Let's start another one.
They could have easily just been driving around Hollywood looking for places to hit and just been like, okay, this is our chance. I got an
Let's start a
idea, you
fire."
know. Like there's so many like home break-ins that are really brazen that you hear about where like people are in the house and they just come
Where they
in or
burned
like
down a
they
whole
just
neighborhood.
like yeah, they burn down the neighborhood and then sift through the toxified wreckage and steal jewelry. But I had a neighbor, like what they do usually is they park on a block and they monitor the comings and goings of people from their houses. And when somebody leaves, that's when they go
Right.
in and they can these guys are pros. They can loot a house in like 8
Right.
minutes. They go in, they get out. It happened to my neighbor. Like he left his house to go like pick up his daughter and then came back like 20 minutes later and like just as the guys were leaving,
Damn.
like literally saw them. Yeah, it
That's
was crazy.
wild.
So, but they didn't burn his house down,
Yeah,
thank
that's
God.
good at
So,
least. I mean, like, I don't know. If the fires are naturally started and then some people went in there and like looted some houses that later burnt down, I don't know. It's good that they got the things. Someone got the things. Like obviously, like it's like.
hopefully they got those Warhols. They went into
I
the
mean, look,
Palisades and stole a
if
bunch
my
of.
house was burning down and I just absolutely could not get anything from it, I'd be like, yeah, let some other people fucking get it. Why not?
Yeah, like if you're an art dealer and you had like I think he had Keith Haring
Dude.
paintings and Andy Warhols and like all kinds of like really valuable art. I know that like in the chaos of it all, you couldn't think like this, but like if I were that guy and I had like the ability to kind of like go back in time, but what you do is you just like run outside and you just say to your you say to your neighbor like, if you help me move this art, you get to keep one of the
Yeah,
paintings. That way you lose like just
right.
one,
Instead of all of them.
you lose like 4 or 5 instead of all
Yeah,
of
I
them.
mean
Yeah.
it's
And then
or at least like you could just even go out there and be like, I have priceless works of art in my house. Please help me. I feel like people would help you.
I'd be like, if I get to keep one, I'll help you. Otherwise,
Have fun.
have fun. I'm kidding. I would help, but
I'd probably be like, can I have
that's
$1,000?
crazy. Or just like, yeah, I don't know. I guess I would just help. And like after the fact, I would be like, damn, I should have asked him for a painting. But that's the way
I
it
would
would be.
help, but then when I was loading the last painting in, I would just make a run for it.
Just
Just
take
take off,
off.
just get in my car and go.
Just Mira running up the PCH through the smoke, holding a Andy Warhol.
God, yeah, that would be a super iconic photo. Anybody just running down the PCH holding like an original Keith Haring. Never before seen Warhol.
There is I guess like a big reveal. Like Beyonce was supposed to do a big reveal, I think this week, but then she delayed the big reveal because of the fires, which makes like perfect sense. But like, what's the big reveal? It's usually just like she has a new album or a tour or something. Is that all it
I mean, I
is?
guess so, but she just went on a tour and like just came out with an album. But maybe she could be.
So
I
maybe,
haven't really been like keeping up to date with like what the whole Beyonce lore is right now. Like, so it's like possible that like this album has like a second part or something like that that's coming out, but I don't know.
she also gave 2.5 million dollars to LA Fire
Well, that's
Relief
good. Taylor gave 10,
through her
so
charity. Which did she really?
yep. That's the thing about Taylor is that she has to one up everybody always, even when it comes to like charitable donations. So she's like always making sure to get like a couple million above everybody else.
Well, I mean, if that's what it takes,
Yeah,
good for her.
truly.
And not everybody cuts that check. That's nice to hear. And she's a billionaire. She should give $10 million. That's like a
Yeah,
nickel
it's
to her.
nothing. It's like, I mean, Beyonce should give 10 million too. Like she's a billionaire, why not? All billionaires should.
Yeah. Maybe give 100
Yeah.
million. You're still going to have $900 million.
I mean, it seems, yeah, that would
Um,
be great. You know, it would also be great if like they paid taxes.
yeah. Well, one can dream.
Yeah, one can dream.
But what do you think? I mean, the thing about it is that like there's like the whole Jay-Z story about whether or not he's got anything to do with the problems that Puff Daddy is having. But I don't think Beyonce would like set up like a surprise announcement to be like, by the way,
By the way, my husband's a pedophile.
she's
Surprise
gonna announce it
announcement.
on
He's
Instagram
going to
Live.
prison.
Yeah, I'm out. This guy's a mess. So it's probably the thing I don't like about it is that like, oh, I have a surprise announcement, but it's like, how many different things could it possibly be? It's either a tour or an album. So like,
Right.
quit playing with
Also, it's
us.
like not a surprise announcement if you announce that it's going to happen. Like,
Yeah. So like,
it like make it actually a surprise and don't announce that it's going to happen. Then you could just quietly change the date and it wouldn't be a big deal.
yeah, it's all so confusing. And then the last story that I have, Mira, is just sort of like an oddball story, but it was so weird that I had to flag it. The headline is Woman Loses $850,000 in Romance Scam, Tricked by Fake Pics. And then the article begins in TMZ, quote, tough times for a middle-aged French woman who got scammed out of $850,000, fooled into thinking she was dating Brad Pitt after being duped by manipulated images of the actor.
How do you
53-year-old, yeah, 53-year-old Anne, married to a millionaire at the time,
Wow.
fell for the scam in 2023, at one point sending a large chunk of money to the scammer who claimed that they needed money for cancer treatment, complete with faked hospital bed pics to seal the con.
Brad
So then
Pitt
they show
needs
all these photos that are,
money?
yeah, they're showing, there are photos. You can see the photos of all of these faked images of Brad Pitt in the hospital, and they're so obviously fake that I cannot believe that this woman bought this
What
shit.
the
Like, it's
fuck?
just
Like are they like photoshopped? Like
I mean, yeah, it's like, yeah, like very badly photoshopped for my money. But like, it looks like Brad Pitt is like, there's one where he's like getting surgery and his eyes are closed, but it's like clearly his head has just been like, dropped in there. I mean, it's just,
And then, like, why would Brad Pitt need that money for surgery? He doesn't have money for his own. Like, what?
just wait. So it says, how did this woman have the cash to send? Oh, just her divorce settlement that she had received after trading in her millionaire husband for her fake movie star boo.
She
Uh,
left her husband for fake Brad Pitt?
yes, yes. And the fake Brad told her that he couldn't use his own cash for cancer treatment because he was tied up in a divorce with Angelina Jolie.
Wow.
The
Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah, the interaction with fake Pitt began on Facebook, where the scammer first posed as the actor's mom. A month later, quote unquote, Pitt slid into her DMs, sparking a whirlwind romance that included marriage proposals. I mean, like, this is just so
What the
bonkers that,
fuck?
yeah.
How do you not, like, he's sliding into your DMs, what, from, like, a Brad Pitt side account? Like, can't, like, why do you get, like, the official account to message you one time before you give him $850,000?
And she's never even interacted with the guy. She only texted with the fake Brad since he was, quote, too busy for calls. So they were like apparently, supposedly, theoretically engaged, and she'd never even talked to the guy. This was all done
What
over
the
Facebook.
fuck?
And it says she finally caught on to the con after spotting a picture of the real Brad Pitt out with his current girlfriend, Inez de Ramon.
Jesus Christ.
So,
How old is this woman?
like 53, I think it said.
How the fuck? I mean, what the fuck? Who, do they know who posed as Brad Pitt?
I think they're probably investigating. I mean, it's a big fraud. They're going to have legal ramifications if they catch this person. But like, they almost shouldn't. Like, whoever pulled the con, like, if somebody's stupid enough to fall for this and they have that kind of money, they kind of deserve to lose it. I feel like it's like
Yeah.
they should have to pay
I
double.
mean, yeah. I mean, it's probably true. It's like a downward transfer of wealth. I mean, did the husband, like, was the wife like, husband, I'm leaving you for Brad Pitt? And then was the husband like, that's not Brad Pitt? And she was like, yes, it is.
I don't think she told him. I don't. I have no idea the minutia. I think it's just like the basic facts here on the internet. But it's like
That
it's
is
beyond
so fucking
impossible to
funny.
believe. People are like there's really, you should never be surprised by how stupid people can be.
True.
And the other thing too is that, like, I think people are lonely and unhappy in ways that like aren't always visible, right? I mean, like,
Oh yeah,
who
big time. I
who
mean, you have to be so lonely and unhappy for this to believe that. Like, holy fuck.
because you like, I don't care how stupid you are, you kind of have to be, I think, in I'm trying to imagine how this could happen to, if you're 53 years old and you're married to a millionaire, that doesn't mean you're smart, but like you
Right.
would at least think that you'd have like a basic level of education. I don't see how that happens otherwise.
I mean, I think people just get like blinded by like the idea of a person, like you fall in love with the idea of a person and then like that person is everything that you believe yourself to deserve. And so then like anybody posing a different kind of reality to you is like, it seems fake. It doesn't seem like your real reality because you've already decided like this is the reality that I have and it's a reality that I've always believed that I deserve and therefore it's my reality and I understand my reality and other people don't. It's like you get into this like psychosis, I
Yeah,
guess.
you just want the fantasy so bad.
Yeah, you just like make it real. Like you just like insist to yourself that it's real for long enough that it becomes real.
I'm engaged. I can't believe I'm engaged to Brad Pitt. I've never seen him in my life. And this all unfolded on Facebook, which is where I know he hangs out. I mean,
God.
if there's any place where I think you're probably going to have like a casual like interaction with Brad Pitt online, it's Facebook.
Yeah. It's for sure Facebook. Yeah, that's definitely right. That's the place you're gonna have an interaction with Brad Pitt. I've talked to Brad Pitt many times on Facebook.
I mean, yeah, I think most of us at this point have at least had some kind of chat with him on
I
Facebook.
mean, he proposed to me, he asked me for $850,000. Like
Uh, Yeah, so that's just crazy. Like, it's so mind blowing to me that I had to bring it up. I don't even know what to say about it. I hope that this woman does some sort of press tour to explain this in greater detail. And like, imagine being Brad Pitt. Like, I know he's problematic. We've talked about this on the show. You have issues with Brad Pitt, and not for no reason. But it's like the level of fame. It could be him or it could be anybody, but he's such an exemplar of a kind of like human beauty and fame and idolatry and just sort of like mania. Like, you know what I'm saying? He gets people crazy, Brad Pitt does.
Right.
And to be him and to bear witness to God knows what over the years, like what people say to him in public or like chasing him through hotels or whatever, you know, the shit he has to deal with, the paparazzi, all of it. Uh, this sort of story, you have to believe, would probably come to his attention from somebody just being like, "Hey, dude, check
Yeah.
this out." Like, what must he think? Like, you know, like I'd almost be like, "Listen, I'm going to cut this woman a check just to like, you know, level her balance books." I know he won't do that,
Right.
but it's like I feel
But then,
bad.
like, how often does shit like this happen? You know, like, probably like a lot of people are like fucking catfish to believe that they're dating Brad Pitt. Like, it probably happens like relatively often.
Yeah, he's got like a virtual concubine.
He's got sister wives all over the world.
He does. Like, who knew? There's women all over the world who are secretly his Facebook bride.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, this guy is just scamming all kinds of women out of $1 million, like just pretending to be Brad Pitt to everybody.
This is like the new this is like the new Nigerian prince hustle, you know? It's just
Right.
you're going to marry.
Exactly.
Beware if you're out there and you are on Facebook that if anyone presents themselves to you and says that they're Brad Pitt, they probably are not.
Probably. There's still a chance, though. They could be Brad Pitt.
Did Brad Pitt lose his house? I don't think so. I don't think he lives on the West Side. I think he's
Yeah, I don't think so.
like a Los Feliz guy. He's kind of like,
Yeah, he strikes me as a like a Los Feliz, Silver Lake kind of guy, Echo Park.
I don't know about it. I think it's Los Feliz. That's like,
Yeah.
let's not get
I
crazy.
think he doesn't live in the Palisades. I don't remember him living in the
I
Palisades
don't
or
even,
Malibu.
who knows? I don't even think he spends that much time here. I have like, who knows what he does?
Yeah.
It's like in France or something. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't even know. I feel like him and Angelina live somewhere weird like that.
Well, Angelina, I actually know where she lives. She doesn't live that far from me, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's like a neighborhood in Los Feliz, and I'm totally going to blank on what the name of it is. It's like something estates, but it's like you would never know it's there.
Hmm.
But it's gated, and
Oh,
in
interesting.
an area that's not like, you know, you wouldn't think of like, oh, there's a gated neighborhood here, but it's very like,
Right.
I kind of wanted to go. I wanted to like go drive through it just out of curiosity, just to see it, but of course you can't get in. So,
Right, right.
but I guess like, you know, wrapping things up, like where do we end things with this fire? Like you're in the desert, you're cowering in the desert, smoking or
Yeah.
taking lots of edibles and just sort of like waiting out the fires, and yet you're going to return to a city that still has kind of shitty air and there's still fires burning. Like they're not out at
Yep.
this point.
No.
So I guess we just wait it out and wear a mask.
Pray that the winds tonight aren't too bad.
Yeah, they keep saying that the winds are going to come back, but I haven't seen any winds. Like you know, usually it's very
Supposed to be like tonight, like at night. I'm not totally sure though.
they
Hopefully they just don't pick up.
yeah, they said it was supposed to happen last night and it didn't happen, I think. But
That's good.
that's the other thing. Is that like it's like everyone's like keeps saying the winds are coming, but nobody will just tell me like when the fucking winds are
Yeah.
going to be here.
Like when and how strong they're going to be in what direction. I'm like, I don't know. I have no fucking
Yeah,
idea.
like just tell me. And then I think what I really want to see, like what would make me like truly breathe a sigh of relief is if there was just a big rainstorm.
Yeah, God, that would be amazing.
And there's nothing in sight. Like there's nothing on the like I don't think there's any
No.
rain in the forecast for any, you know, anytime soon. So,
No, there's no rain coming for us.
well,
We're fucked.
we're fucked. And if the fires were to somehow return, like let's say like God forbid like a week or two from now, there's another huge fire, like what are you doing?
God.
Are you going to San Diego instead of the desert?
I have no fucking idea, honestly. I mean, maybe, like I have a friend who stayed in a fucking like Marriott Suites in Anaheim. Maybe that's the place to go.
The Marriott Suites in Anaheim. Go to
you
Disneyland.
know?
Take the kids to Disneyland. There was some.
Yeah, maybe go to the Disneyland Hotel.
Ugh, that place is a nightmare. But
Yeah, I fucking hate it over there.
All right. Well, I'm really glad that we got to talk, Mira. I wasn't sure this was going to happen. I'm glad you're doing okay. And when you come back to Los Angeles, I just think that, like, it's going to be important for you as an asthmatic person to take necessary precautions.
Definitely. I'm going to be all masked up and sitting next to air filters for the next, I don't know how long.
I feel like we should have created a GoFundMe for ourselves. We could have,
For ourselves, just I could use some money. That
yeah.
seems nice.
If you want to create a Brad and Mira GoFundMe just to like help relieve our mental anguish, please do
Yeah.
on our
Yeah, it's
behalf.
just like so that I can like, I don't know, buy some moisturizer and more weed. Like what else do I buy? Yarn? I don't know.
Yeah, moisturizer, weed, yarn. I like fresh produce and hiking shoes.
Okay.
What else?
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that should keep people busy for a while.
Yeah.
But
Also get Brad like some sunscreen and moisturizer too. He could use it.
I'm trying. Look at my skin. I think my skin looks good today. Actually, I was
It
gonna.
does look good today,
I
actually. I
don't.
feel like you've been
I'm
moisturizing.
trying. Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe I've also not been outside because I've been cowering indoors. Maybe that's good for you, as it turns out. Maybe
It
Mira.
is
Maybe
good for you.
this is something Mira's known all along. Just cowering indoors and just like lying
Keeps you
around
young.
keeps you young. There you go. So
You know, my forehead is miraculously free of lines, so
mine is riddled with. Look at that. I have like my mother. I call
not
it.
so bad.
We used to call this the 11. See this like these two. My mother had the 11, and I think I got the 11. So
You got the 11 for sure. But don't worry, when I get back, we'll get some little Botox in there and then you won't have it anymore.
okay, so add that to the GoFundMe that this is for
Yeah.
skincare. Like we'll call it skincare just to kind of keep it vague.
Yeah. Self care, skincare, you know, all that.
All right. Well, it's great to see you, Mira. Thank you so much for taking time out of your crisis. What do you call it? Like crisis residence? Your residence in the desert?
My residency in crisis.
Yeah, exactly. And give my best to the crew, your your cohabitors out there.
Yeah. Same to you, Brad. And stay away from the particles.